1994 to 1996, there was people talking about the Bob Lazar incident, which is he worked at S4, Area 51, and they were doing this special on Univision, which is the equivalent of like your most famous news outlet in Mexico compared to what the famous news outlet here in America is in the United States.
Okay.
So they did this huge special translated in Spanish to people. And I remember being 4 or 5 years old, six maybe. Six is when it happened. But it was around Christmas that they did this documentary that came on at like 9 p.m. By 9 p.m., if you're 4 years old, 5 years old, in a Mexican family, like, you have to go to bed, right?
Yep.
But because I kept seeing this throughout the week, I was so fascinated to hear, there might be alien technology that we have, and there might be aliens in outer space and beyond this world, and that would just captivated me as a kid. So I remember, my grandparents had 5 women and 1 boy. 3 of the women still lived at the house, so I had cousins that were living with us, and I remember telling the oldest one, I'm the second oldest, he's the oldest. His name was Julio, and I remember just telling Julio, I go, this comes on Sunday. I know we have school the next day, but we need to sneak out and watch the special. And he's like, no, because he's scared of ghosts, the devil. And at this point, we didn't know there was anything outside this planet, so now aliens. And I don't know, it's like, there's this place we can hide. We'll sneak out of the room, and the moment it begins, we'll sneak out, and we'll hide behind the couch, and everyone's going to be glued to the TV and not know what's going on, because it was like the talk. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone in the house was talking about it. We're going to watch this, we're going to do this, and I said, we are too. Even though we have to beat it, we have to be in bed. We're going to go and watch this stuff.
Sneak in, okay.
So it came down to the day, and it pops up, right? We sneak out. He's scared, terrified, because, getting caught back in the day, I mean, you get grounded. And this is Hispanic grounding, where you get the whooping before you get in trouble. So we sneak out, we're behind the couch, and I see, the first image of a UFO, right? This thing's taking off, and they're showing it. They're showing Bob Lazar talk about, his work at Area 51, S4, everything that's going on. You see George Knapp talking about it. People trying to deny his claims, right? And I'm just captivated, going like, I can't believe that this is real. My family's so glued to the TV that they don't even notice that we're behind watching. And then finally, like, I cannot go to sleep because I'm so
excited
into this. It's so exciting, exactly. And this is something else where it just...
That was before the sighting,
everything you
right?
grow up to knowing, it just completely destroys everything you know up to that point, right? And so I go, wow, that was so exhilarating, having to sneak out, watch it, and then trying to absorb it. And where we lived is agricultural land. I can show people, I've shown people pictures. There's nothing around for miles. Nothing around for miles. Nothing. It's just...
You can see very
cotton
well.
fields. It's just cotton fields. There's grape fields. I'm not sure if the grapes were for grapes or for wine. But yeah, I guess they were for both. But usually if you do grapes, they're up in the hills to get more sunlight. But this is flat land. So I'm guessing it's just for grapes. Melons, watermelons, potato, and garlic was basically it. And I believe there were strawberries. But can't be so certain on that. But... we ended up moving quite a bit away because my grandpa got a new job doing irrigation. So we had to move to the farm where that was taking place, and there was only 3 houses. There was like the 3 people that did irrigation and did the tractors. So there was just these 3 little houses, and we lived in one of them, and the rest in the others. And surrounding 360, nothing but cotton fields, right?
Wow.
And we, your family talks about spooky stuff. Like, oh, I've seen this, I've seen that, I've seen La Llorona, I've seen El Chupacabra. They all talk about that stuff, and it was getting closer and closer to Christmas.
Okay.
And so it gets to the day on Christmas, and the whole family gathers, right? Because everyone is in agriculture working. Everyone, my uncles that married my aunts, and all the sisters, and then their kids. But since we're the oldest, we get placed in one room.
Yep.
And my cousin goes, the males that work the fields are outside barbecuing carne asada, and they're drinking tequila, Budweiser and stuff, and the women are inside playing la baraja, or in this case, Mexican bingo, which is loteria, and and they're cooking tamales, food, pozole, and stuff like that. And so, like, the smaller kids are isolated in another room. Me and my cousin, because we're the oldest, we're isolated in another room. But my cousin's like, I want to catch Santa in the act. He's telling me this, and I'm like, well, how are we gonna do that? He's like, well, we just stay up. We're gonna see if they're lying to us or if they're telling the truth. I'm gay, I'm like, let's go. I said, all right, we're gonna catch Santa Claus. And so you hear the commotion in the kitchen, everyone listening to music, and then you can kind of hear my uncles out there with my grandpa out in the, doing the barbecue and stuff. And then it gets around the time where they're like, oh, you kids need to go to bed. It's late. Santa's not gonna come if you don't go to bed on time, and you're gonna get coal or nothing at all for Christmas tomorrow. And so we're like, all right, cool. So we pretend to go to sleep, and we wake up, and so we had this window facing north on the side of the house, and it faced about, I want to say 50 meters away, the cornfield started. Yeah. Not cornfield, I mean the cornfield. So these were, almost growing, and they were significant. And I'd say they were about to your chest high. If you're about 6 feet tall, they're about to your chest, like right below your chest.
Yep.
So they were sprouting. And I remember we're just looking out the window, and we see this flashing bluish, whitish light flash, right? And then my cousin, because he couldn't contain his excitement, he goes, oh, there he is, there's Santa Claus. So he's like yelling in my ear as we're watching this through the blinds and through the window, and this thing is like falling slowly from the sky, right, into the field. And then as it's falling towards the field, you can feel a slight push on your chest.
Oh my God.
As if you could see, like if you put two magnets together and you could feel the force between them pushing against each other, the negative and the positive.
Yeah.
It felt like that against your chest. And I remember just grabbing, like I had my hand on me, and I was touching my chest and my stomach, because that's when you felt it the most. And I go, what is going on? And it was not so aggressive, but it was just a slight push. Like there was force kind of messing with your skin.
Like when you're at a festival and you receive the big pump from the speaker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Close to that?
When you feel the vibration of the bass and the low frequency, and you can feel it, but you can't hear it. But then you could hear a slight hum. A slight hum, and as it was lowering down, it increased more, and then it was more blinding. And my uncles and my grandpa who were outside, you can hear the commotion, right, in Spanish. You can hear them saying like, oh, what is that? And they're like, they're drunk. So
and how close was it, more or less?
Goes, like, I hear it about 50 to 60 meters, I want to say. It wasn't at the edge. At the edge, I'd say it's about 50 meters.
Oh, that's very close, man.
So I want to say 75.
And the size, of the light.
The size, okay.
Was it like a big or small?
Like a basketball.
Okay.
It was about a basketball size. And so you can see that, and so you can hear my uncles speaking in Spanish, causing all this commotion, and they're daring each other, because you know how they are. They egg each other to be, oh, who wants to go out there and check? And so immediately one of my uncles is like, oh, it might be La Llorona. No, I'm not going out there, man. I was like, I heard about the legend. I'm not going to go out there. And they're like, nah, man. I said, wait, it's a cucuy. No, it's a chupacabra. No, and then two of my uncles, one of them is my godfather now.
Yeah.
But they went out there to check it out, and we could see them because we were looking through the windows, and you can see they're they're drunk and trying to walk through there. And so they go in there, and they're like, "Oh no!" One of them hits a big fry, and both of them start running, and you can hear the women be like, "What's going on?" Because then they hear the sounds, and we're hearing the sounds, and we're freaking out, being like, "What's going on?" And one of them is yelling, "It's a chupacabra! It's a chupacabra!" And next thing you know, we're still staring out the window. We don't see them anymore because they ran inside, and everyone's running inside. Everyone's yelling in the kitchen because you got the men and the women being like, "What's going on?" And then next thing you know, this thing lifts up out of the cornfield. I mean, I keep saying cornfield because it looks like corn. Out of the cornfield, and it literally does this thing where you can still feel the pressure against your chest and stomach, and it blinks. It's a weird shudder. And then all of a sudden it lifts up, and then it just shoots straight up into the sky. And my cousin starts yelling, "Oh my God, it's Santa Claus! It's Santa Claus! It's Santa Claus! It's Santa Claus!" And like we're freaking out, they're freaking out, and they come inside and make sure that we're okay. So we pretend to be asleep. Everyone else in the other room was pretending to be asleep, and everyone's calling each other crazy in there, like, "You guys are drunk, and you guys did stop."
Wow.
Listening to all these dumb stories and everything. And I just remember just frozen. But it didn't affect me in a very euphoric way. It was just kind of like, what happened? And so the next day we went, and you can see the stems of all the cotton field. The area where it landed, you can see it pressed down still.
Yeah, and you could see when it landed, the corn was kind of smashed in a way.
Not corn. I keep saying corn because it was looking
whatever was there,
it's cotton.
the cotton. And tell me, what did your uncles who went there, what did they say when you talk with them?
Oh yeah, so the only one that speaks about it is my godfather.
Yep.
And that's Julio's dad, right?
Yep.
So Julio was my cousin who was with me that saw it with me. He's the oldest, and that's his dad. And so when I asked him, he's the only one that will talk about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, no." I was like, "Yeah, I saw something," because he's the one that saw. Like he said, it was like a 3-foot creature, and there were multiple of them, and they were roaming around. Yeah, they were roaming around, and that's why he yelled out "Chupacabra," because he was like, I don't know what it was. So the first thing that came to his mind was like, it's a creature, it's smaller than us, and we just saw this thing come down, and he was just yelling "Chupacabra."
Juan, did you know that I've been doing on my UFO stories? I've been doing a lot of miniature UFOs with miniature beings inside. How tall were them?
He said about 3 feet. He said, my uncle.
How much is that in meters? Do you know? 3 feet.
1 meter, 1.5. Yeah,
okay.
1 meter.
1 meter, yeah. It's kid size. That's kid size. And so the craft, they didn't see the craft.
So the craft.
Yeah,
What's the craft?
Okay,
it's
so
like an orb.
He didn't get close enough to see the orb resting on the floor. That's what I mean.
No. Mm-mm. All he said was he saw something move around, and the moment he saw it, he just yelled out "Chupacabra," because he said he only saw the backside of it. But
wow, and he did tell you any specifics like the color or
he said they were like a dark green, maybe dark gray in between.
Oh my God.
But as far as a definitive color, no.
If you shown him the picture of a gray alien turning on his back, do you think he could say if it's what he saw?
I haven't done that.
Okay, so do that.
Because
that may be a good.
I should probably. I have never thought of that.
Ask him if it was like smooth, if it was muscly, how did it move? If it was like a robotic movement, or if it was like a more animal. Either way,
Right.
it's great. Let's continue. Is there anything else?
Oh, there's one significant thing is that I haven't told anyone this part. Like I said, there's so much information on the story.
Remember, Juan, I'm not gonna post this yet. I still have to work on it, and before I do anything, I'll tell you, I'll show you the final work. And I don't need to tell it was yours, okay?
Yeah. So you remember when Science came out, right? The movie Science. So we were watching it, and you know, obviously, it struck a chord with my godfather, my uncle, and you know, Science takes place in a cornfield, and you know, they're moving around in the cornfield, the aliens, but the aliens are kind of like a little taller than humans. We're in human size. The average human size is 5'8".
It's the 9 feet. It's the 9 feet, right?
Yeah.
The Las Vegas.
Yeah, and they're bigger in there. And then I just remember him slightly making like a comment when we were watching the movie, and they showed the piece in Brazil where the kids see the alien and it walks across. It's like the most famous one, I think, where Joaquin Phoenix freaks out when he sees it on the TV. And my uncle, my godfather, just laughs. He's like, they don't look like that. They're a lot shorter.
Yeah, because he's seen one, exactly.
He was like, they're a lot shorter. It just gets me every time. Because he was just like having fun and stuff, but he was really bothered by the way that they portrayed it in Science. Like, nah, that's not how they look. And then, you know, like you can tell when they're